sanitize. Make sure your hands are clean. You sanitize. Please remember to keep your social distance, and also remember to put on your masks. Today's lesson is Mathematics, Grade 7, Lesson 5, Multiples. When we go to page 13 in our booklet, we will continue with multiples. Now, what is a multiple? A multiple is the answer we get when that number is multiplied by another whole number. Again, a multiple is the answer we get when that number is multiplied by another whole number. For example, 6, 12, 18, 24, and 30 are all multiples of 6. Why? Because 6 times 1 equals 6, 6 times 2 equals 12, 6 times 3 equals 18, 6 times 4 equals 24, and 6 times 5 equals 30. So the multiples of 6 are the numbers that we multiply by 6, the answer of those numbers. In the block, we will find the multiples of 8. 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48, 56, 64, 72, 80, and so on. Those are the multiples of 8. So if we multiply 8 with another whole number, we will find one of those answers. 8 times 1 will equal 8. 8 times 2, 16. So those are the multiples of 8. We go to our examples. If you are asked to write down all the multiples of 7 less than 40, remember, the multiples of 7 less than 40. 7, 14, 21, 28, and 35. How did we find that numbers? If we multiply 7 by another whole number, we find the answer of those numbers. 7 times 1 up to 7 times 5, which is equal to 35, because our question is all the multiples of 7 less than 40. In number 2, the question is, write down all the multiples of 9 between 20 and 80. So all the multiples of 9 between 20 and 80. So where will we start? If we see 9 times 1 is equal to 9, and we find that 9 is less than 20, we know that 9 is not one of the multiples that is between 20 and 80. So the first multiple of 9 from 20 onwards is 9 times 3, which is 27, 36, 45, 54, 63, and 72. The number after 72 will be 81. So 81 is more than 80. So the numbers or the multiples of 9 between 20 and 80 are the ones that you have there in front of you in your booklet. Right. How do we determine the lowest common multiple? And we call the lowest, or the abbreviation for lowest common multiple is simply the LCM. Now let's define what the lowest common multiple is. If you look at the lowest, the word lowest means the smallest number. The smallest number. Common means the numbers that appears in both sets of numbers. The number that appears in both sets of numbers. And multiple is the answer to a multiplication table. In our example there, we have two sets of multiples. We have the multiples of 4 and the multiples of 6. So we have to find the LCM. In the multiples of 4, we have the set of numbers 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, and it continues. And the multiples of 6, which is 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, and it continues. And we see the common multiples are 12, 24, 36, and 48. And so if we have to find the lowest common multiple, like we said, the smallest number of the ones that we find in both sets, we will see that 12 is our LCM. We're moving on to page 14. Now, what we have on page 14 are some examples which I want to explain on the board for you. Now, what do we have there? We have to find the LCM. And the LCM, like we said, is the lowest common multiple. Let's revise quickly. Lowest, meaning the smallest number. Common, the numbers that we find in both multiples. And the multiple is a number that the answer of a multiple of a number that you multiply by another whole number. Now the first 12 multiples of 4 and 6. Pumweni. Let's find the multiples of 4 first. Can you help me out here? The multiples of 4, where did we start? 4. He says 4, 8, 12, continue, 16, 20, 24, 28. I think we can stop there. You can continue with the other 12, with the other, that's the rest. The multiples of 6. If we have to find the first 12 multiples of 6, Pumweni, can you help me out here? 6. It says 6, 12, 18, 24, 30. And you can continue up to the first 12 multiples. Pumweni, by looking at these numbers, we have to find the common multiples. Common meaning the numbers that we find in both sets of numbers. Can you give me the common multiples that you see from the board here? 12. He says 12. Can you find another one? 24. Right. So the common multiples in these two sets. Right. So we found our common multiples are 12 and 24. Now we have to find the LCM. LCM, L is for lowest. So we found the multiples of 4 and 6. We have found the common multiples. So now we have to find the lowest. Can you tell me which number is the lowest of these two numbers? 12. So our LCM is 12. We'll do another example. Are you ready, Pomwene? Okay. Let's find the LCM of the following two numbers. If you go back to page 14, our example 2, we have to find the first 12 multiples of the numbers 6 and 8. So let's focus on the board again. The numbers that we have to find the LCM of are 6 and 8. Pomwene is going to assist us. Can you give me the multiples of 6? 6, continue. 12. 18. 24. 30. 36. And it can continue up to the 12 multiples. The multiples of 8, Pomwene, can you assist us? 8. 16. 24. 32. 40. 48. And we can continue. We add another one. What is this? The next one is 42. Am I right? Right. Pomwene, can you find the common multiples in these two sets of numbers?
24.
What? Which one?
24.
He says 24. Is there another one? You find another one? No. So the only common multiple that we have here is 24. So it means our LCM, our lowest common multiple of 6 and 8 is 24. Now you can work on your own. We have activities that starts on page 15. The first activity is, all you have to do is to write all the multiples of 4 from 16 to 44. So remember, all the multiples of 4 from 16 to 44. Number 2, write all the multiples of 6 between 35 and 70. Number 3, write down the first 6 multiples of 9. Number 4, you have to write all the multiples of 7 from 35 to 84. And in number 5, it is expected from you to write all the multiples of 8 between 40 and 80. In B, now you have to find the LCM. Because you have to use the numbers 3 and 9, first of all, you have to find the first 12 multiples of these numbers. Secondly, you have to discover all the common multiples. And then in C, you have to find the lowest common multiple. In number 2, we have to find the LCM of 3 and 4. Again, find the first 12 multiples of these numbers. B says you have to discover all the common multiples, and C, you are expected to find the lowest common multiple. Then we continue on page 16. You have to fill those 3 and 4 in that space there provided. Number 3, you have to do the same with the numbers 4 and 8. And then we go to number 4. Here we have to write down the multiples of each set of numbers and find the LCM of each set. The first set, we have 2, 5, and 6 up to 40. So you have to find the multiples of 2 up to 40, 5 up to 40, and the multiples of 6 up to 40. And number 2, you have to find the multiples of 6, the multiples of 8, and the multiples of 12 up to 60. And then you have to write down the LCM. Just remember that we have to sanitize always. After each lesson, you have to sanitize. Remember to keep your social distance, and don't forget your masks. I thank you.
What is social distancing? Hi everyone, I am Zoshi, and I'm back. It literally just means that you need to stay home all the time and keep away from crowded places. And remember to keep your distance from your friends too. Everybody stay safe. Yay! Till next time. Bye!
The mighty Zambezi River, the longest east-flowing river in Africa, a river that flows through 6 countries, home to a plethora of wild species of fauna and flora, a lifeline for many people whose livelihoods are dependent on the abundance the river brings. Globally, communities who live along rivers rely on these rivers to survive. Communities living along the Zambezi call it the river of life, bringing water for their crops and fish as their main protein source. In Namibia, a country situated in sub-Saharan Africa, the Zambezi River sits at the heart of CASA, the Kavango-Zambezi Trans-Frontier Conservation Area, which is one of the greatest conservation areas on Earth, a stronghold for very many of our most iconic wildlife. I'm right now where the river forms the border between Namibia and Zambia. This enormous water body provides sustenance to a wide array of wildlife, bird and fish species. It's also a lifeline for human beings.
The same communities are the people also who are doing the illegal activities.
The price of fishing has gone up because fish has become scarce.
The more they finish us, the more our life gets harder and harder.
These days, it is very rare to get a big bream, unless in those protected areas.
A small group of community members, together with non-governmental organizations like Namibian Nature Foundation, are fighting back.
We have to start thinking out of the box, to be honest, because what's going to happen is going to be out of this box that we haven't seen before.
By creating protected areas, monitoring and patrolling, fish stocks have a chance at recovery. These are the stories of the people fighting for the continued existence of their communities. These are the last defenders.
Struggling with no food, no what. But we didn't stop. If I don't do it, our young children, they'll never know the fish.
very big hello to you, ladies. It's great to be with you on the show again.
Yes.
Welcome to Living the Life. Marriage is where the work really is.
That's the main.
So no matter how exhausted the event planner is after, oh my God, I did such a beautiful wedding. She did the wedding. That's not the work.
You understand?
The work is the couple now.
The uterus begins to shrink back to its normal size. It takes about 4 to 6 weeks for it to get down to below the umbilicus level, and 4 to 6 weeks if you're breastfeeding. So that's another incentive to breastfeed.
4 to 6
Oh
weeks,
yes.
yeah.
You're wondering, love, what does it really mean? Someone is telling you, I love you. But if you love me, show me that you love me.
Investing in marriage takes a real hard work. It's not something that you just wake up and feel like, no, because I married my best friend. It's not automatic that the marriage is going to work.
Nothing is too good for my daughter. Now here's the deal, Nambi. There's no playing around with other boys before your wedding. Do you understand me? It's the most important day of your life.
Nambi, baby, you have a face like a beautiful person. I got you this Virgin Mary necklace to protect your innocence.
Stupid man. We have loved each other since high school, and now you want to turn your back on me? All the plans we made, you just throw them away? And you want Nambi now? When I've always been there for you, Ziwa, do you understand? And she doesn't even love you. I wasted my time on someone like you.
Don't be like that, Jalia.
Love, everybody needs it. Love.
Many countries that have passed their first peak of COVID-19 are experiencing a second rise in cases. Is this a second wave of infections, and could even more waves lie ahead? Previous pandemics might give us a clue. The 1918 Spanish flu was the most deadly pandemic in modern history. It killed at least 50 million people. Its second wave was the most deadly by far, killing millions more than the first and third. More recent outbreaks, such as SARS and swine flu, have also had 2 or more waves, so it looks like the COVID-19 pandemic could have several too. The World Health Organization has warned about the dangers of a deadly resurgence. Many countries and places have seen infections accelerate after bringing their first waves under control. These rises aren't necessarily new waves. They could be spikes. Spikes are rapid rises in cases that aren't sustained, whereas waves happen over longer periods and often contain several spikes or peaks. Second waves only take place after a first wave has retreated. Many scientists believe more waves are inevitable and think a worse one could hit during autumn or winter. Some other coronaviruses spread faster when the weather is cold. If this is the case with COVID-19, it would put health systems under huge pressure. Many people are still vulnerable, and immunity to the virus might only last a few months for those who recover. It's also possible that mutations to the virus could lead to new waves. Hundreds of mutations have been found, and some could potentially make the pandemic more severe. One mutation may have already improved the ability of the virus to bind its spike proteins to human cells. This strain of the virus appears to unlock cells more easily and has become dominant around the world. It's unknown how the virus will continue to change, but further mutations could make it even more dangerous and harder to control. A reliable vaccine would help solve many of these problems, but it may take many months or even years to find one. Until then, we all need to make long-term lifestyle changes to protect ourselves from further waves. How are you learning to live in a world with COVID-19?
More than ever before, football fans demand unique insight and analysis. The Football Review is much more than a highlights show. Bold, provocative editorial that goes beyond conventional reporting, setting the agenda for football discussion. Champions League, Premier League, La Liga, Serie A, Bundesliga, Liga and much more. Want genuine insight with hard-hitting editorial? Need compelling premium football content? The Football Review. Best, bar none.
Man, you've got to be anything. He should be everything. Strength provider, the architect of every ring. Experience Peniel, see the face of God and live.
I pray to God for my enemies. Why you ready? Why you baby? Wanna do? Insta baby, Insta baby. Why you lying? Sing what your mama gave ya. Everybody move what your mama gave ya. Everybody sing what your mama gave ya. Everybody move, yet lost fuck.
You are now watching the B10 Countdown.
Hi beautiful souls, this is Nikita Winkler and I'm here to share easy tools for stretching that you can do just about anywhere. In this session, we will be doing seated chair stretches. Remember that this is a demonstration video, so take your time. These stretches are really beneficial because we spend so much time sitting with bad posture. So let's get started. First, bring yourself to the edge of your chair, ideally not a high chair or one with wheels. Okay, we want to make sure that the hips are aligned with the knees and the ankles and that your spine is upright. Take a nice inhale, open up the chest, exhale, release back, inhale, open up the chest, exhale, release back, just to create mobility in your spine. And now we're going to go for a spinal twist. Inhale, twist, one arm goes by the opposite knee, and exhale. You can rest your arm on the backrest, or if you don't have one, just behind you. Come back. Inhale, exhale, twist. Do a couple more as you please. From here, we're going to lean forward to stretch the entire back and spinal vertebrae. You can use a pillow right here to make it more comfortable. If you wish, you can add some tapping on the neck. Come back up. If you do some tapping, make sure you give enough pressure. When we come up, we bring the right leg up, cross it over the left knee, and rotate your ankle. One direction and the other. Inhale, press on the knee, exhale, release. Pressure into the knee to open up the hip. If you want to go deeper, lean forward. Come back up. Cross left over right. Ankle rotation. One direction and then the other. Inhale on the knee. Exhale. Press the hip open. And if you lean forward, notice how you move into different parts of the body. Lower back, glutes, and around the hips. Come back up. And that's it for today's seated stretching. Thank you for joining me. Don't forget to breathe and happy stretching.